Thank you.
Colin?
Thank you. If this RFQ, once it's passed in the paper contract, that all comes out of our operating budget.
Mhm.
This isn't something we could potentially add into the fiscal, trying to think of the name of it, as had it on top of my head, the, capital improvement plan, something that we can potentially pass over to the city. Is that feasible? Is that legal? Is that something we can,
That's something that I can ask the I know Mr. Pacheco
What is it
will
for?
maybe
What
know.
was the question?
if we can add this to the capital improvement?
If we can add this to the capital improvement plan.
Personally, I don't think it's a capital improvement.
No.
Like capital improvements for like buildings and
Structures.
structures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More so, this is sort of like the daily routine of a school. Like you
Right.
need copiers,
Mhm.
just like you would need printers, and you know.
Correct.
So I've never seen in my entire career that goes to the city.
So, paper cut, that's the company we currently have that.
No. So we have Core, and then the software that we use for the managed print services is called Paper.
That's called. How do we? Were they a state contract or how do we get them? That was
So they're a state contract. They have been around quite a very long time in this district. They are very valuable, I think, currently, like, because if we call, they're here within a couple of hours. They have gotten smaller and they have not replaced people. So Mr. Aguirre is right, it is a question that needs to be looked at. And that's something that I will do because we can't have schools without copy machines.
Agreed. No, I think it's a good thing that we're going through the process. As you said, I think it's the way we can potentially cut down on the cost by going through the formal RFQ rather than just going through a state contract. On my colleague's point about if the company shuts down mid-year, mid-contract, that's something we can put in either in the RFQ, if in the contract, that would, in terms that would be more favorable to us, so we can avoid that if it happens.
I will ask Corporation Counsel.
And on the last point, the color copy policy, I think it's I think that's something that should be uniform across every single school as well.
Okay. We will look at a printing policy, printing and copy policy, and bring a draft copy to you.
I make a motion to refer that to the full committee.
Second.
Okay, Deb?
Mr. Agia?
Yes.
Mr. Dias?
Yes.
Mr. Moniz?
Yes. Can I ask? And this, company Core, right? Now, do they take care of all the machines, maintain them
Yes.
and everything else?
They maintain them, they give us the supplies. If the machine, this is how they've been good to us over the years. If the machine needs a part and they can't get it, they've offered us a spare. We had last summer, we had two guys hoof a machine up 2 flights of stairs, because we were down here and they gave us a spare to use until the part came in. So they've been very responsive.
And some of the machines that you say are in pretty good shape, are we looking to keep them for backup? Just in case we have that issue?
So we may, it depends on how good they are. I have to look at the clicks. A lot of the machines are in the millions of copies right now. So
Okay.
it would be something that I'd be hesitant to use, even if it's in good shape, because we probably could get some good money taken off of the lease price.
So now, the bigger machines that you're saying we have, are those the same machines that were in the Pace building?
They are.
Oh,
So
wow.
those are the same machines.
Okay,
So they've been around quite a while.
right,
They're still, knock on wood, holding their own, but they are end of life.
okay, all right, that explains. Okay. Are you?
302.
Okay, 302, discussion and vote to refer E-rate 470, 471 forms.
Okay, so this is just something that we do every year to just give you an idea. Form 470 is for our internet service provider. And in the packet, you'll see our Crown Castle contract. It's very straightforward. It's just a form that I sign with the dollar amount that the federal government, the FCC pays. They pay 80%, we pay 20% of that cost. Our current vendor, Crown Castle, we have until end of fiscal year 29. So that happens every year, and that's just more of an FYI for you guys, and also for the full committee. Then there is category 2. Category 2 is for wiring and for equipment. So this year, it is currently out to bid right now. We have an E-rate consultant called E-rate.com. They've been with us probably close to 20 years. They do all of this, so that way there are no errors on our side. This is what they do every day. They put together the bids. It's out there right now. March 28th is when it will, they will send me all of the bids, and then I will go through and I will weight them accordingly, and then we will pick a vendor. What I decided to do this year in the network side is, licensing is now an E-ratable, cost, and licensing can get very expensive. So, there's licensing in this proposal this year. There is replacement of all of the network equipment at Morton. Morton is still using the original equipment that we opened the building with. So Morton needs to come to current age. And then also, there are 560 access points across the district that are end of life. So what happens now is, like a Chromebook, the technology has a 5 to 8 year life expectancy, and the companies, they no longer provide the software that that access point needs to run. So they're end of life. They give you 6 months and then it's a brick. It'll continue to work, but I can't do any security updates to it, can't make sure it's secure, and we can't guarantee that it's gonna continue to work. So what happens is, we've already identified those with the licensing and with the age, and that'll be a project to come this summer that we give to one of the technicians, and they'll go around. The only thing that's a downside for me as far as time and efficiency, the new access points are a new mount, so it's not gonna just be get up there and swap it out. It'll be a little bit of work involved, so they'll have to, put the mount up, hoping that they can use existing holes that are in the ceiling. And typically, this will be the low voltage electrician that I have on my side, except he just resigned, so that job has to be posted. So if I need help, I've already talked to Mr. Pacheco, and he will help me out if we don't have someone at that point
Okay.
to install.
Sure.
Motion to refer.
Second, just a quick question. With Crown Castle, and I know this goes until 2029, are like staff throughout the district happy with the service? Are you happy with the service?
So, up until this point, we've had a couple of oddities. Yeah, today's not a great day. We've had a couple of oddities.
Besides today, of course.
We had a mouse chew through a piece of fiber at the door in school. Mr. Pacheco and I have never seen that. It was outside. We had a squirrel chew through fiber at Laterno. And there have been some outages that are out of our control, car accidents that have taken down poles. But I am very happy with the service. Today, we did have an outage, and at first, we thought that it was vendor-related due to the storm. However, after we did some digging and it takes time, it was one of our buildings causing some issues that we have found, and we are now back up, live, running. We have that one building to look at in the morning, and we could talk about that when the camera's on.
Right. I wouldn't even ask him just for that, just in general, but I appreciate it. Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Agia?
Yes.
Mr. Dias?
Yes.
Mr. Monus?
Yes. Okay. 3.03, discussion Chromebook policy.
So what you have before you is the digital resource policy that every student signs. Up until this point, many of the middle school students would take their Chromebooks home, but there was never a directive that they were either taking them home or not. So in the last month and a half or so, middle school principals, along with Mr. Raposo, Chief Academic Officer, we've started to kind of pull those back. And now what's happening is their student take their Chromebook, when they get to school, they use it throughout the day in certain periods, and then it's returned into the charging station at the end of the night, and it goes back into their homeroom. So that just happened at all of the middle schools. The only school that take their Chromebooks home is the high school. And just to give you folks a little heads up, what happens at the high school is, as an 8th grader, they get a new Chromebook, and then the Chromebooks are theirs until they're in 12th grade. We did that because the first year we opened the new high school, we had a girl come up and she took meticulous care of her Chromebook, and she didn't get the same one back. She was upset because she took care of it, and she felt as if she took care of it, she should get the one that she took care of back. So that sparked an idea. I asked some of the tech directors, and a lot of the school districts around us allow the high schoolers to keep them throughout the summer because they feel as if they take care of them. And it has worked. We have had less damage. We've had accidental damage, a lot of screens, and the only other damage that we really see at the high school are motherboards, and it's not damage related to the student, it's just wear and tear of the Chromebooks. What you'll see later is, in this budget, I'm requesting 1,000 Chromebooks. The Chromebooks have a 5-year life expectancy, and then at year 5, Google doesn't update the software anymore, so then we're not allowed to use it for testing and such. Right now, Mr. Farias is the one that updates the Chromebooks in the back end, so we know the number that we need. A lot of the Chromebooks that are gonna be end of life are actually sitting as spares anyway, so they're not being used for testing. And then what we do with those is we have a bunch of people sit around a table and we literally Frankenstein them for parts. We put them in bins, we organize them, so that way we have parts on hand. But we of course test the parts first. That saves us a bundle of money, and then there gets to be a point right around Christmas where we run out of the internal parts, where I have to purchase parts from ChromebookParts.com. They are the cheapest. We do the 3 quotes, the whole 9 yards, and then we're able to get the Chromebooks back to the kids most of the time within the same day. The middle school buildings are manned with a technician. The high school actually has 3 people because of the amount of Chromebooks. So at the high school, it's usually a turnaround within a couple of hours. One person is on the floor dealing with AV classroom issues and such, and the other 2 are dealing with the Chromebooks.
On that comment, so you said the high school has 2,400 students,
Correct.
and they have how many techs?
3.
3. How many kids are in the middle schools
600-ish.
in each?
Yes.
So they have 1,800, and they have how many?
They have 1 tech per building.
Some schools are 7, a little bit higher.
Like, is that-
750.
Like, make sense, or is that like,
It's work.
as far as like the timing goes, or like the?
Yeah, I mean, because the
Making sure
middle
everybody's-
schools fluctuate 600 to 750 kids, I'd say, that range, depending on the school. So yeah, one per building.
And it's similar in the elementary?
So the elementary has district techs, which have probably 2 or 3 buildings apiece, and they rotate through. If at any point there's a large-scale project involving Chromebooks or other technology, that a member of the team needs help from another member of the team, it's just set up and they pivot and they go and they help that person.
On the org chart, these techs all work under Mr. Farias?
No, they work under Mr. Dunce. Mr. Farias has the instructional technology people.
And what are those numbers?
There are 3 at the high school, 1 at the middle school, and 3 at
3
the
here at
elementary.
the elementary, I believe. Yeah.
Yes,
So for techs, the network techs or whatever the actual,
computer, yeah.
we have 3, and then we have 3 in the middle school for
So
1,800
there's
kids.
9, I
So now you
think, right?
got,
9
so
network
somebody works in the
techs.
middle school, 1,800 students, and there's 1 tech?
No, it's
One instructional tech?
one instructional person right now.
And there's 3 of those at the high school for
Correct.
2,400.
Yes.
That's, those numbers make sense?
I would love to have another middle school person.
I just,
But-
when you started to throw out the numbers, I'm just looking just straight numbers, not
Mhm.
personalities, people or whatever. Really doesn't make sense to me, but
And I think
If-
the work, if I can just make one comment, I think the work has shifted. I think I was the principal at Talbot when we went 1-to-1 with the Vills initiative at the time, and the demand for an instructional tech coach was obviously very high because this was a huge shift in how people did business. I do think that also teachers have learned quite a bit around like incorporating instruction. So I understand that point, and I think that we're in a different place now where teachers do have a stronger understanding, because really that role is all around Google Classroom, different types of platforms that you might use. How do you make this lesson maybe more accessible? So sometimes they're pushing it to a PLC. That's how those instructional tech people are utilized. Certainly, obviously we have a need for it, but I do think it's very different than going back, let's say, 5-6 years ago when people really didn't
how does
have
that
any
reflect on
knowledge.
the high school? Wouldn't that same theory be in the high school?
Yeah, I mean, the high school also has about triple right now, right? I mean, what do they have, 2,400 kids,
Correct.
so, yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying the
So,
same theory of they're
Yes.
getting familiar with it.
Yeah,
uh,
and maybe it's a
when you look
looking
at
at
the
how
org
to
chart,
reallocate.
where it goes, like
Mhm.
Mr. Dunce has those folks in front of him. I would assume Mr. Dunce has an opinion on, like, I can move Brian over there, Scott over there,
Yep.
you know? Mr. Farias, these other people work for him, he should be the one to say where you go, you know, like, to
Mhm.
make sure
Sure.
everyone is, I just think that's good,
Yeah, look at the resources.
good policy and
think
say,
about-
okay,
Yep.
how we doing it? And it should almost be on a regular basis, not just,
Mhm.
oh, let's wait till next year with the budget if we ask for one and we don't get one, or
No,
Like,
Yeah,
Mr.
could they
Farias
on the
has-
fly.
deploy as needed,
Yeah.
right, too, right, yeah.
you say
Yeah.
just, no, I think we should move, those two over there, this one over
Mhm.
here. But those folks, I think, need to be able to weigh in on,
Mhm.
what
Mr.
it is.
Farias and I have had multiple conversations about it, and we do have a roadmap that we'd like to follow, but I'm just not ready to share that at the moment in
Yeah.
public.
The, when you mentioned the kids in eighth grade get them and then they keep them, it's begging the question for me that we had a not so good rollout of the Yonder pouches. Because in my mind, we don't let the kids take the Yonder pouch home, but we're letting those, based on what you just said, we let them take a Chromebook home. So for $20 to $30 Yonder pouch, you can't take that home. So you're gonna take a $300 Chromebook home. Why don't we just let them take the Yonder, so
No,
to
I
avoid
think
this
they-
like mess?
My understanding is they do take the Yonder pouches home.
I-
No,
That's
I'm
my
talking about at the
understanding.
end of the year, like,
Oh,
so
at
he's
the end of
saying
the
they-
year, oh, sorry,
Oh.
okay, yes.
so they're not
yes.
bringing their Chromebooks in eighth grade and say, hey, I'm turning it in, and I'm gonna get it back in September. From what I heard you just say is they keep it
In
all
ninth,
the time.
In ninth, yes,
Right,
in eighth
so
grade.
they'll keep it from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. This year, we had a mess, because the Yonder pouches weren't ordered, then the people were doing it, and then they're trying to figure out, like, what are you doing?
So
I
Why-
just think that we just need to know internally and for us, we can talk in senior staff where that lives, because if it does become a piece of technology, then it would follow the same suit as the Chromebook. Right now, it lives in a different department and we just assist, so it all depends
You're
on where
talking
that
about the
lives.
Yonder pouch.
I'm talking about the pouches, yes,
But I think the devices, though, at least at the middle school level, they're collected
correct.
and redistributed
Yep.
at the end of the year.
Correct.
In this case, right now, they're staying in school, but we tried, I believe, last year, try to redistribute the device to the same students as well when possible, right? Because
When
they were
it,
tagged,
when it was
right?
possible, they did, but now they're tagged and they're on the shelf, the
That,
kids.
yeah, I hear you, it just begs a different question of, as far as making decisions and administratively, why Yonder pouches either don't fall under you or they
Mhm.
fall under you. Do you only get involved when there's a problem? So,
Typically.
that's not right either. The Yonder pouches were a mess this year, to start with, absolute mess.
I have no
And-
problem taking them under the advice of technology, that has to be a
I
direct.
think it has to come
Just
from
a
the
question.
superintendent to
Correct.
say, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, but
Mhm.
we
He tells
can't
me to, I
have
will.
2-3 weeks at the beginning of the year. Kids had made their own drawings on them, they're trying to figure them out, like the stories I heard about the Yonder pouches from people in the, just blew my mind
Mhm.
at the start of the year, so I think that, to me, makes a
So
thing.
Yonder pouches with the Chromebook.
My Chromebook question was about the mid-year move, and we don't know anything of it. I started to hear about a month ago, some rumors about, well, we're gonna now do them. My feeling is that we were told all along, one-to-ones is the way to go, we're sending these home, everything's wonderful. Then all of a sudden, without any communication at all from the administration, I start hearing, well, they're gonna bring them in because this principal wanted them in, that one. It didn't sit well with me, so I sent an email to the superintendent and you, and then I don't hear anything for a month. Now all of a sudden, oh, I'm reading this here, they're all back. Like, we don't know any data, we don't know why, we don't know the rationale, we don't know what was the light speed data. What does it show? These kids are on, they're not on, like, there had to have been a rationale for why principals, assistant superintendent, you, whoever,
Mhm.
pulled them back in. I'm not looking for the answer now, but we're entitled to some kind of rationale.
Sure.
Why is it, what does the data show
Mhm.
to say it, and is it all middle schools, is it all the
Yeah,
K-8
all
schools?
middle
You know, like,
schools right
so
now, yep.
The only
all-
ones taking it home, I guess, from reading
The
this
high
is the
school.
high
High
school.
school only.
But if the rationale, when we see the rationale, is that it's not really effective, like, does that mean we're gonna do the high school next?
Mhm.
Because if the concerns were such that we don't want the middle school kids, what's the difference in ninth grade? That would be one of my questions. The other one is the repairs. How much money have we gotten for repairs when things break?
Yeah, I would say the big reasons would be, which we can prepare something, definitely, repairs. Also, kids not having their devices. Middle school kids are different than high school kids, right, in terms of a level of maturity. And so middle school, I know as a principal at the middle school level, we had to come up and put a lot of effort into a loaner system because, you know, you would have on any given day, 5 kids in a class, 3 kids in a class not show up. And now our curriculum is so driven in many ways by technology, so now it impedes that student's ability to participate. So we'd have to come up with a loaner system, because I'm also not gonna say, hey, you can sit there for the day, don't worry about it, right? And so either we're trying to copy something or, but we can certainly get
Yeah.
the
Yes,
information there.
numbers.
Right now, I
Appreciate
will
it.
say, as of today though, all the middle schools are operating under the same protocol where the devices are staying in the school. And they've rolled that out, I wanna say, starting maybe last week or this week, I can look back, but
We can also
we'll get that
we
information.
can get anything relative to new devices that certain places got versus others.
Mhm.
Appreciate that. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just to follow back up on that, I think with any policy, it should be uniform across the board, but of course, like you mentioned, Mr. Raposo, different level of maturity at the middle school than it is at the high school, and I see that
Mhm.
in my, like, through myself and like, just like having a loaner system, but I also know it goes to, like you said, it goes to curriculum.
Mhm.
So we could have a policy here which states we're gonna keep the Chromebooks in, but I'm assuming we, like throughout the fall for public schools, there's more homework than there might be at other districts. So we would have to, wherever the policy, if it would ever be adjusted, it would have to match the curriculum. Wanna kind of tackle a different issue, and I've heard this from, individuals, principals, individuals in the schools. I know we have a policy that's in place which, talks about discipline, but I'm more interested in what's the practice right now. If a student is either intentionally or non-intentionally destroy their Chromebook, what are we doing to recoup those funds, or?
So I can tell you on my level, if it's an accident, I've instructed the technicians that are at the buildings to replace it. And you can tell when it's an accident real quick.
Sure.
If it's malicious, it's sent to the building administration for them to make the decision. Our technicians are not, part of, discipline systems. So they are sent to building administration, and then building administration will come up with a plan, and then they will let the technicians know what the plan is, whether or not, yes, we can give them another device, but we're gonna bill the parents.
Is there, I don't mean to interrupt, is there data, is there like a form they have to fill out, is there something centralized?
Yeah, so they have to fill out the resource policy, the parents and the kids have to sign it. And it shows in there, the fee structure if they break something or they're malicious with their device.
And then
I-
there's an additional form, I think, to your question, that's filled out usually by the technician, who is the one that assesses the damage, and will say, okay, it's a screen repair, it's $50, and then that form is shared, and I'm speaking to my experience as a principal, I'll have to get updated information, because that's been about a year and a half, right, since I've been in that role, but that information would then get shared usually with an assistant principal. I may or may not get involved as principal, but usually the assistant principal's handling that, and they will then do some outreach to that parent. And the student will also be potentially assigned a consequence, and then sometimes the consequence is the natural consequence of the fact that you now owe $50 for a screen repair. And we've had situations where we've worked out a payment plan if we've had to, so we've been flexible about, it's more about the student and the parent acknowledging that this was maybe some intentional damage. And then we work with that family to try to recoup whatever we can in terms of that cost.
And thank you for answering that, and right to that point, I'd love to see as one member the data on, like purposeful damage and how much we're getting back, if we're recouping that, or if, there's some schools that we don't follow up as much. Because from a policy standpoint, I think something that we should consider is, I know we have in the policy, you don't get, if it's at the high school level, you won't get your diploma, you won't get,
We do that already.
right, there's certain things, but I'd like to know is there still money that is going out the door from these students.
You mean in terms of damage that's
Yeah,
not
that we're
recouped?
just not
Yeah, we'll have to
recouping no
get,
matter-
yeah, we would have to get information on
Yeah,
that.
we get information, but I can tell you that, when we first started the Chromebooks during COVID, people would pay if there was damage. I can tell you now, it's very difficult to get payment from some of the families because of, you know, just the families, like Mr. Reposo said, they go into a payment plan or such. We do have some heavy hitters that are on their fifth or sixth device, they're not allowed a device anymore. All I can say from my standpoint is our technicians just look at the device, they figure out what's wrong with it, and then it gets moved off. And then, it's either fixed if it can be, or they receive a loaner.
My opinion, and I'm not suggesting, there's something that just we should put on the radar, is if you're on your fifth or sixth device, if you intentionally,
Oh yeah, they don't get one.
if you, if you intentionally break a Chromebook, if it's intentional, that's not fair to the rest of the students that either they're held accountable because it's an accident, or students that you mentioned at the beginning that do their due diligence and take care of their Chromebook. I think it should go immediately to some sort of collection system. So
So we
either the
asked-
student or the parent is held accountable,
Yep.
or the student turns 18, they're held personally accountable.
Yep.
I think there needs to be something uniform that's strong, so we're holding those students accountable and we're getting our money back.
So I just wanted to mention, we were working and we were all kind of brainstorming, and we are gonna roll out through, Mrs. Sardinia, a bill or an invoice type thing through Parent Square, so now the parents know directly, right? Because what's happening now is a student may get the piece of paper that they damaged the screen, it's their first time, and then they never show mom or dad. But this way, this is going to mom and dad directly, something that we just kind of, you know, brainstormed and came up with. And then what we're looking at, depending on what the monies look like, is Parent Square also offers parent pay, so the parent can actually pay for the device via Parent Square. So we're also looking at that, I don't know.
And if,
Depending on money.
and if it's not getting paid, refer it to collections, that's my opinion.
I'm not sure, like, in my opinion, like, Mr. Reposo talked about the vice principal dealing with it, so I'm sure that they're doing it in writing, emails or
Oh,
something,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
call
So
in, yeah.
they're doing
Meeting.
what their due diligence is. I hear the thing about the payment. It is a problem, but we also gotta we have to understand that doing nothing is not an option.
Correct.
And
Right.
what we used to have in the past, I think we've gotten better with it over the years. We used to have really either no policy, you know, so we're getting better with it. I do think we also have to have sign-offs on adults the same, staff members the same,
They
so
sign
that,
off.
I'm saying, like, if we're gonna question, like, if I drop my device or something, like, and I'm a worker, what do I do? Just get a new one?
No, so they have a device.
Yeah, I don't need an answer, I'm just saying that that's
Yeah.
the,
Okay.
make sure everybody's on the same page. When I looked at this, it looked like you had some recommendations for policies, or no? Cause it says discussion.
No,
Is there any recommendations for change of policy?
no, at this time, I don't
So
have
this
any.
is, oh, like, okay, so we
Yeah.
don't, we can go to the next one, cause I didn't wanna,
Yeah, no,
And
Nice.
just one more quick question. If we can also get data, I understand, it says in some of the, on one of the pages here for the policy, that if there's like, the law enforcement can get involved, they're breaking it, if we can get data on that, if we ever made referrals.
that's never happened, but.
Okay, no, never mind, that's the data.
I'm not sure if it's never happened, but we'll look, yeah.
Okay, I yield, thank you.
Mr. Dias, are we moving on to 3.05? Update,
oh, 4,
sorry, 04, update the technology 5-year plan?
Can I say something on this first?
Sure.
So, having been the chair of technology in the past, we like to make sure that we have these 5-year plans and forecasts of what's going on. I think we need those, we've been talking about this for a while. I think we need to administratively just make decisions, get the plans in place so that we're not, you know, 6 months out, a year out, the same thing with the strategic plan. We haven't had a strategic plan in years, that's unacceptable not to have it. So I do think that this has been sort of in the works a little bit, but we need to pull the trigger on it. And I know it says update, but I think we need to vote to do this so that it's an active plan rather than, okay, let's just wait again.
So-
Just my opinion is, I think we need on the record, 5-year tech plan approved by April 1st.
So I just wanted to, so briefly go over, so this document, my next part is, to have as the 5-year plan, have it go to the full body, but I wanted to just go over a couple of things that, this is like the strategic plan as far as like the working document, so it may get a refinement here or there. A lot of the districts now are creating a 5-year plan, but technology is pivoting so quickly, that it may pivot as well. Some of just the pillars of the plan that I've been working on, we're gonna maximize the E-rate category 2 funding to cover 90% of the cost for district-wide Wi-Fi 7 upgrade, so that'll be coming. We right now are a little bit behind because some districts are already doing this. However, that's definitely something that's gonna be happening in the next, I would say, probably 2 years if I can leverage the funding. Return on investment, looking at, now these are just things, again, haven't, talked to other departments yet because I look at this as a working document, but look at some AI tools for transportation, nutrition, and HR. There are some really cool tools out there. In the HR area, it's called an HR bot, where they walk you through digitally the process to apply for a job. It also does the second piece when you're coming in to fill out paperwork. It does that all for you. So if the person in the back end decides to hire, it takes the information that they've already pre-put in to apply, and it populates everything in healthcare and all that. Now you have to go, of course, and look at it all, but these are pieces that I'd like to see. And I believe, now these are the numbers that I've kind of scratched around with in my brain.
I would say that, I'm not sure we should go over that personally, because we're looking to be efficient, and we're not looking to put a number, in my opinion, on eliminating positions so that we can save money.
No, this wasn't
But
eliminating
when I look at
positions.
this HR, like, is this coming from HR? Like, where have we, because we've been asking for HR improvements for years. So where is this coming from? Because it's technology, but where is HR leading this charge to say we need a system as such? Like, where is this
So
coming
that's
from?
why right now this is kind of a working document, because we have a vacancy in that position. Mr. Reposer is our acting superintendent, so this is something that I put together as we need to get the principals and the department heads to look at some of this stuff, because some of the things that I'd like to do, special needs iPad refresh, middle school refresh for the Wi-Fi 7. I'd like to look at, and it didn't for some reason line up, but the nutrition, the AI-driven nutrition en route for the transportation. We already use one software, but AI is gonna bring us to places that we haven't been. And then something that we have not done in this district, I've been here a long time, is a system-wide technology audit, so that we know what we have. Now, we know we have Chromebooks and such, but I don't necessarily have a master inventory list of switches, of access points, of cameras. We have them all, it can be grabbed, but I'd like to finally do a master inventory. And Mr. Pacheco and I looked at some software today that might actually do that for us. Send the text out, put a sticker, scan the sticker. Again, this was just a very basic, if you look at it, just to maximize E-rate.
Make a motion that we forward the technology plan to the full committee for implementation starting April 1st, 2026.
Second with a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Dyer.
I had, I'm forwarded to the full committee, I actually had similar notes on that. Since we're going to have a strategic plan this year, hopefully, wouldn't this be also something we can implement it soon, but it should be something that should be attached to the strategic
agree.
plan once we have it?
I would agree.
And, just quickly, I think it's like a good plan overall. Two questions that I have. One that you just mentioned about the software system. I know we have the, what's the name of that we talked about at facility as a software?
Brightly?
Brightly. So since we have that, I know that's,
We
they
don't
have
use Brightly.
inventory.
We don't use Brightly. We use Incident IQ.
Right, but if we're gonna look for a software to use for, inventory, I know they offer it.
Oh, yeah,
Just
so
having
Brightly
two
has-
separate-
Brightly has inventory. The only thing is, I think Mr. Pacheco will say, like, I don't wanna get into crossing data. I wanna leave the technology stuff, technology.
Okay.
And that's not because of anything other than just moving in the future, it's technology and operations, and the two separate silos that they belong in.
one question, only question on the plan is, and I don't know if we have this currently, if, how does the systems in place work if, either a student or a staff member have an issue with any technology, Chromebook or anything, and, they want to report it, like, I know, like, at Bridgewater State University, they have like a ticket system, a staff
That's
member
what we
can.
have.
So that's what we have, so typically what happened in the elementary level is the classroom teacher would open up a ticket for Chromebook number 1, 2, and 3, and she has an issue, it would be routed to the building technician, usually get there within a day or two of opening the ticket, and then depending on what's wrong with the devices, the ticket is then closed that day. At the middle school level and at the high school level, they can open it on their own if they really wanted to. At the high school, they know that they can go to the library and it's kind of a one-stop shop. They can go drop it off one period and come back a
Thank
period
you, that's
later.
all I needed, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Say
And
again.
the urgency of the timing of, I'm not wrong, am I, that we have no technology plan active right now?
No, so we had a 2-year plan at that, in your first 2 years, when you and I were working together, that's already sunsetted.
So, right, so the only reason why I'm saying that, obviously, we're gonna have some things happen, it's gotta be a working document, but we shouldn't go another day without having a technology plan, just like we shouldn't gone a year and a half without a strategic plan, or whatever. So that's, I'm not trying to figure that
No, I
you're gonna
understand.
know everything's worked out here between now and April 1st, but enough's enough. We've been talking about this for a year and a half. We just need to make the decision the best you can, bring it to the full committee. If it needs to change, in September, we can always change it, but everything goes on way too long here of time, and it's way beyond it. We've read about this multiple times, so the motion that is on the floor that I mentioned was April 1st, bring it to the full committee.
Roll call. Roll call, Mrs. Cabral?
Mr. Agia?
Yes,
Mr. Dias?
Yes.
Mr. Monus?
Yes.
one more question.
Sure, Mr.
You mentioned
Agia.
about incident IQ.
Mhm.
So does incident IQ do inventory
It does.
for all of the schools, or?
So it does, yeah, so right now, any person that has a device, it's in the inventory. What's not in there are like switches, cameras, all that stuff. It can do it,
But we know how many cameras we have, like, you know all that information.
we do,
I
but
don't wanna give the impression that, to the public, that
No,
we
no,
don't
no,
know.
no.
We
I know how many cameras I have, I just want it to all live in one place.
No, I get it. It just, but if Incident IQ, and I don't even know, I've never seen the program, does Incident IQ do inventory across the whole school system? In any districts, in any,
So there are
Whatever.
districts that use Incident IQ, there are different modules that they can purchase. Right now, we just have the technology module, but you can add on to it and make it a suite.
It's no secret that I'm not happy with, personally, how Brightly was rolled out, or what it does. We have Incident IQ, I don't know why we do all these different things, and it seems like one's doing one, one's doing another. If we got a good system that works, and everybody knows how to do it, we should have one system across the whole system. This thing of Brightly, we had a presentation, the last subcommittee meeting, it was terrible. I didn't know what was going on with it, it's been in existence since January 2024. 2 years later, we still don't know how it's working, and we spent a fortune on it. So I would look at internally through the superintendent, figuring out a way to streamline and get one system that works for everybody, in my opinion. Sorry to interrupt, but we can go to the next one.
Can I briefly just say
Sure.
something on that?
Go
And
ahead.
I want to apologize personally because I was supposed to be at the meeting and I was supposed to be the one that was showing you guys how to use the software. And I couldn't make it because I was away. The meeting conflicted with a personal matter. So I would have been the one to show you all the software. So I do, I apologize. And if anyone wants to see it, I can meet individually.
Can I respond to that briefly?
Mr. Dias.
I don't think that's really, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but that's more of, the individuals that are actually using the software day to day, that's for them to show it. I don't think that really, I don't want you to take the heat for something you shouldn't take the heat for.
No, and I'm not, and this is something that I did. I told Mr. Pacheco that I would take care of that piece of the meeting. And again, it does fall on me because I should have been here showing the group software. That's all I wanted to say.
Mr. Agia.
With that, I don't wanna belabor the point. I will take you up on that with the superintendent to have come in and do a Brightly, individual. The other one would be, one of the questions that I asked was how many reports have been run in Brightly for principals, for everybody else? And the gentleman who was doing it couldn't tell us what that is. So if it's a system that's up and running, we should know, yeah, we're using all these reports. So before I do the show and tell, if you could get me any, like a log of all the reports that have been run. For instance, at the meeting, the superintendent asked the gentleman, why don't, where it says groups, like to link them together, we didn't even have the group set up. So I'll individually meet to go over it.
Okay.
I appreciate the offer. We're on org chart, 305?
Yep, 305. Update org chart, budget review of capital plan.
Just wanna be sure I'm here.
Can I start with some questions?
Sure, Mr. Dias?
Thank you. So, and I know I asked last minute, but I'm hoping we can follow back up at a future time, just on one part of the org chart. Someone, any member can correct me if I'm wrong on the timeline here. However, the district had a contract with an outside vendor for PR work, and I understand we made some modifications to one of the positions in here. I believe specifically the title to take on some of the responsibility of that PR firm, so we got rid of the PR firm. But I just came to my understanding that we still have them for an emergency.
Mr. Dias, so, the only change to, that position, was some of the job responsibilities, and it had
Correct.
nothing to do with the PR firm. There is currently no contract with JGPR. There is only on-site, and we do not have a contract, so, you know.
There is no contract?
There is no
Okay.
contract.
Okay. So I would still like to follow up on I as one member, there are certain, responsibilities or certain things that, in terms of communicating with the public, that, shouldn't fall on whoever's superintendent, shouldn't fall on their hands. And so if we should definitely review again, just looking at what that contract that we had, what it was for, and, look at the position, making sure that we're fully utilizing that position to the best that we can. It doesn't have to be today, but just for
So you're looking for
future meetings.
JGPR versus the person that we have on site?
Basically, just making sure that, nothing's overlapping or anything like that, or
Well,
just,
there'd be no overlap because we don't use JGPR, so.
correct, I meant just formally, like any, with their duties, what the contract was supposed to do. For the cybersecurity coordinator, I understand you want that, July 1st. Seeing that it's an important, I think that's something that, you weren't here, Mr. Moniz, however, we, went through, quite a situation without getting into too much details. Is this something that we could fast track to get posted sooner rather than later?
I have a job description, and I think it would take the vote of the full committee to
Just separate from all this, I'd like to make a motion to refer, any proposed, job description to the full committee for us to approve.
I think,
If I can weigh in.
personally,
on-
I'm not gonna second that because I think we need more info. Mr. Raposo's the new superintendent, he's not even aware of
Right.
what's been here, so I think we need to
Sorry.
like just, kinda slow.
Yeah, so I was just gonna
uh,
ask
that
that
process
maybe
down.
I'd like to learn a little bit more about that, what the need is for that position.
Fair enough, fair
um,
enough.
Because this, I haven't seen it yet, I wasn't part of the
Yeah, I
budget
Fair
meeting
enough.
with Mr. Cabral,
I
so.
was working with the former superintendent.
I yield for now.
Mr. Agia?
So I could see some of the, when you have the, org chart, I understand what Mr. Dias is talking about that position. I think the real question is just, we need a one-pager on it, that we call the position a different name, a year ago or so, because it was gonna do different, it was basically going to,
This is the communications
Yeah.
specialist.
so we changed the positions, job descriptions or whatever to, be relative to what we needed.
Mhm.
We just need a one-pager to say, is it working, is it not working? Because some of it is public relations.
Mhm.
So if that position should be doing some of the public relations, which I think is what Mr. Dias is talking about.
Yes.
Where JGP, whatever that company was called, wasn't really hired to do public relations, but then they did some, so it was very confusing. So all I'm suggesting is that we get a one-pager from the superintendent to say, the position is, these are the job descriptions, and this is what we feel like it's either working or not working. Because I think some things get blamed, or like, oh, they're gonna do this, or the website was one of them that originally was taking a lead role on the website, and so just, I think a one-pager would do us all, the whole committee would definitely, help. I don't think that's too much to ask, and the reason why I always ask for the org chart over the years when we were, on this committee was because it's a good visual for everyone to see what happened. So under, we had talked earlier about the network person has X amount of people under them, this one has X amount of people. It's a good visual for everybody just to see, so I don't really have a lot of questions other than I think the format should probably, mirror what all the other departments, look like.
So
Um,
every other department's gonna mirror this, cause now we have it locked into the cells, but it will be on bigger paper moving forward. We will put it on 11 by 17 so that we can see the font. I just asked Mrs. Cabral to put it on the smaller paper,
And the
cause I
budget,
wasn't,
thanks. The budget review, which was on the agenda, is the only new position that you're asking for in the budget the cybersecurity, or is there any other positions?
just the
new
cybersecurity.
positions? So there's no other new,
No, the cybersecurity coordinator, and then like I said, we talked about the copy center clerk, but that's already in the budget. It's been in my budget for the last 4 years, it's just not been filled. And it's something that I'm looking to possibly fill this year if the funds are available.
yep, my only request would be that, via the superintendent through the budget meetings, like any department, that we examine, because the committee also voted for a zero-based budget, or the equivalent of such. That implies that we look at every position in every department, in every school, to make sure that we're not either having something that we could do better, if it's not working, that's the point of, I think, why we want that type of information. So I guess that's just the charge, is to rationalize that we have X amount of positions, they're all working to the best of, your opinion, Mr. Reposo's opinion, so that if we have to make some moves and changes, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of times we just over here and we just keep doing the same thing year after year, and it really, if nothing changes, maybe it doesn't need to change. But I think getting a fresh look at it, so that you guys come to us and say, we examined every position, we think they're all needed, and everybody's working, fully to the best of their ability. I, for one member, would feel more comfortable knowing that you guys say you looked at it all, rather than us have to have a meeting where I'm asking you these questions and asking the schools it. So I'm gonna rely on the superintendent to be able to say, we looked at it all, and
We'll
Here's
sit
what we
down, because we haven't had a chance to sit down together yet at this point. The only other thing I wanna bring to the light in that budget is we will be asking for a hardware refresh of teacher laptops and then student Chromebooks this year, because some of them are end of life. So 350 teacher laptops and then 1,000 student Chromebooks. That was also part of the ask in the budget. But we'll see that again when we get
thank you
to
very
my
much.
budget.
I yield.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Dias?
Just quickly, actually, I yield, thank you. Oh, sorry, I remember my question. I'm not sure if, this year, I guess we'll find out. I'm not sure, I know last year we had like the, kind of like the 500,000 build your own, I'm not sure, I'm assuming that's continuing this year.
Yeah, I think, I know that's something obviously we can talk about, but I don't see why we would maybe change that. I think if there's an opportunity to do that again, we would do that again.
Sure, I would be, as part of that 500,000, if, like, I know we talked about earlier, if you need like a technician, an extra technician, that's something, as one member, I would be open for in terms of, that additional 500,000.
Appreciate that.
I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Dias.
Along those same lines, and I think, I truly am not saying whether a department has enough, too much, not enough, like, that's not for us to decide, that's for you guys to decide, but that we gotta give the committee some credit over the years, because if we did a review, let's say 5 years ago, what the technology department looked like and what it does today as far as support staff and technicians and the like, you're gonna see a real, increase and an investment in what we needed. So it might be good for you to, because as new members of the committee, to memorialize that, to say, what did it look like 5 years ago? What does it look like today? I've been here, so I sort of know that, but when people say technology is getting where it needs to, at some point, we can only and keep increasing so much. So there's like a fine, spot that you gotta figure out, but I don't think everybody is aware of how many increases we've had.
We can write something up for everyone.
I appreciate it. I yield.
Okay, new business.
Mr. Chair, just
Mr.
one,
Dias.
just wanted to quickly, go back to 3.04, just throw a quick idea out there. I'm not gonna just wanna put it on your radar, something to think about. I understand, we have a pretty much state-of-the-art studio that we use for our broadcasting, which, I think it's really good. I think the staff there do a great job. And, I think that's something that should be utilized. We're looking in terms of efficiency. We, having staff to either go out to Somerset, Swansea, when we have, the equipment, we have the ability to broadcast to a large audience and a large Florida Public Schools audience, something I think, should be considered, and I'll leave it at that.
Mr. Dias, just for your input, we actually, Mr. Kochman and I have been working along with his staff, Martin's is here as well. We're looking at, creating a show that the students go out and create the content, and, the adults are there to oversee the production. Whether or not it be with a superintendent or with a bunch of different admin teachers, we haven't figured out that avenue yet, but it is something that we have been talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Agia?
Yes,
Mr. Dias?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes,
thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
thank you.
Good night.